SOP 252. Today we've got a last 5 and 5, and I'm going to give you some advice from a podcaster that's getting 13,000 listeners per week, and you're not going to believe the topic.
It's the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. Here's Dave Jackson.
Podcasting since 2005. I am your personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson, thanking you so much for tuning in. This is where we talk about all things podcasting, from planning to producing to promoting, all points in between. Our website is schoolofpodcasting.com. You can reach me, Dave, at schoolofpodcasting.com, or call in your comments. It's really easy, courtesy of podcastvoicemail.com. It's 888-563-3228, and we are going to jump right into it today. We've got a comment on the last show from Charlie Hayes. If you want to hear some great rockin' Christian music, check out Cross Driven Radio, and we'll just let Charlie take it away.
What's up, Dave? This is Charlie Hayes over at Cross Driven Radio, and I wanted to leave you some voicemail feedback on School of Podcasting, episode number 251. I was looking for the video podcast for PocketNow.com, which is a smartphone review site, and they call their podcasts Pocket Casts. And I Googled it, and I came across an app called Pocket Casts, and this one is cool. It's actually really cool. It's for the iPhone and for the Android, and it's less than $3. And what this one does over the one that you recommended on the last show is this one does, if you pause it and stop it, like if you get a phone call or something like that, this will pick up right where it left off. Whereas the other one, I don't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but that one you have to start all over again. And this one is very similar in that it doesn't, require syncing. It'll sync automatically at the push of a button. So it's less than $3. It's like $2.74 or something like that. And it's in the Android store and in the iPhone App Store, and it is called Pocket Casts. And while I'm at it, I think I might just give you a last 5 and 5. I haven't heard one of those on the SOP in a while, so here is my last 5 and 5 as I look here at my Pocket Casts. The last one that I listened to was Clinch Gear Radio. It is inside the world of mixed martial arts. The second one is the Daily App Show for the Android. The third is the Podcasters Emporium. And the fourth is Judge John Hodgman. I don't know if you've heard this one or not. The old Mac ads, the Mac versus PC. John Hodgman was the PC in those commercials, and he is doing a podcast where it's like a court show, but it's done in a comedy type of way. It's really pretty funny. It's Judge John Hodgman. What else do I have? I have the Jen and Dave Show, another comedy podcast, and Fan House MMA Hour. That is my last 5 and 5. Take care, Dave.
Thank you so much, Charlie, for both the insights into that particular app and for the last 5 and 5. If you're new to what the heck is the last 5 and 5, it's simply not so much what are your 5 favorite podcasts, but what were the last 5 you listened to. And I know I just discovered a couple there that I'd never heard of, and we'll have links to that out in the show notes. You can go to shownotes.schoolofpodcasting.com. That'll take you to all our past episodes. And one thing I do want to point out, the Beyond Pod, now that's just first of all, if you don't have a smartphone, just fast forward. When you hear the music come in, that's when we're going to get to our next topic. But I have a Droid phone, and the app I'm using is called Beyond Pod. And actually, Charlie, it does remember where you're at. It actually gives you kind of a little visual to show you if you're halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. It's very, very cool. It also lets you set when your phone updates your podcast. It lets you set, hey, when you check a feed, download the last number of podcasts. So like when I first started out, I had it download the last 3 just to get me caught up. It what else does it do? It has a sleep function. So if you want to go to sleep listening to podcasts, you can set it for 30 minutes, and I thought that was kind of interesting. You can import, outport. You can export with Google Listen. It's a great app. It's also $7, and but I'm loving it at this point, and I just love not having to tie myself back to iTunes. But now the other thing that it does that I've heard, as Charlie mentioned, it syncs the Pocket Cast syncs with their own servers. That to me, I think, is a negative. I understand that iTunes takes forever to sync sometime, but with this particular app, I put in the podcast feed, whatever the podcaster's putting out there, and I'm tying directly to them. So if they put out a new episode, in theory, if I hit update on my phone, I should have something come down the pipe. So I'm not real crazy about anything that I have to sync to that is already doing the syncing for me. I want to do the syncing myself. I know Todd Cochran had talked about that on Geek News Central. He had done a review of the same app saying how much he liked it. So it sounds like a great app. I want something. I don't want any syncing, period. I want to go directly to the podcaster. But it sounds like a great interface. So I'll have links to that out in the show notes where you can get it both on an iPhone and an iPad. Speaking of that, if you want to get all the past episodes of the School of Podcasting, you can do that. We have an iPhone app and an Android app. If you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/iPhone or schoolofpodcasting.com/Android, that will take you to either one of those apps. All right. You're not going to believe this. I found a story about a podcast success story, and here's the rundown. Kathy and Steve Elkins own Webb's. Now, this is the largest independent retailer of, are you guys ready for the topic? The fast-paced, exciting world of knitting. Yeah, that's right. The largest independent retailer of knitting, crochet, and weaving supplies in the United States. Now, although they have a 16,000 square foot retail store, most of their sales happen online. So they were asked by a local radio station to do a weekly show about a weekly show about knitting, and then deliver it via podcast. And they saw it as a great opportunity to connect really with their geographically dispersed customer base, and they could do that on a personal level. And so Kathy explained in an article that I was reading, she said, it's like inviting people into the shop and having a cup of tea. And it's the same conversation I would have. Notice it's a conversation. The same conversation I would have as if I was sitting there knitting with them. She says it's not hard, pushy sales. It's informative. I'm just going to let that sink in. It's informative, it's not hard, pushy sales, and it's a conversation. Now, 208 podcasts, which is probably closer to 210 at this point, they says about 13,000 listeners per week. Talking about knitting. That's right. It says the results are evident in the company's sales. She says when she and her husband discuss a particular yarn or a particular pattern on the show, they can see traffic on their order page on their company's website. They will see that particular product spike. Okay? It's amazing. She says people write in emails asking about their kids' hockey games, which they occasionally discuss on air. They want to know how they turned out. And she says she's actually been recognized by her voice at trade shows. So you're like, wow, 13,000 listeners, that would be awesome. What made it successful? Kathy cites the podcast on the company's other social media channels is how they promote it. But here's the other thing. Keeping content interesting, sticking to a schedule, and not, I repeat, not using the podcast as a commercial. So keeping it interesting, sticking to a schedule, and not using the podcast as a giant commercial. She says, be true to who you are. You don't have to be super polished. You don't have to have a big booming radio voice, which I have right now. I'll talk about that in a second. And she says, you have to be authentic. And you can check out this podcast if you're a knitter. And no offense to anybody, I'm not a knitter. You can go to readysetknit.yarn.com. And I just thought, this is what I've been preaching for really since 2005. I mean, hopefully you can hear my enthusiasm, although maybe not today, about podcasting. I love to hear how people are reaching the world with their podcast. And it's just amazing to hear all the great success stories. If you have one, feel free to email me again, dave@schoolofpodcasting.com. You can call in 888-563-3228. And it's just amazing to me. Think about how, if they actually had 13,000 people in a room, how big that room would be. And they're just doing it from probably a bedroom or maybe they're doing it at the radio station. Who knows? But you don't need, I'm doing this right now into a Shure SM58, which is $100, into a Behringer mixer, which was probably another $70, into a Zune H4 portable recorder. So I've got maybe $400 wrapped up into this. It's amazing. And I guess, so you're like, okay, Dave, what's the point of this episode? The point of this episode is, number one, if you have somebody giving you flack about podcasting, what podcasting? It's a waste of time. Go, hey, you know what? There's a knitting cast that has 13,000 subscribers. But also for the person who's thinking about starting a podcast and thinking, nobody's going to want to listen to me. I don't want to. You know what? I could see Kathy and Steve thinking, you know what? We should start a knitting podcast, because literally think about it. Probably it's older women that knit, and they don't have computers, and nobody's going to listen to this. And what's the point? Well, 13,000 answers later, right? So I say this today. So if you're thinking of starting a podcast, I bet Kathy and Steve are glad they started theirs. And it's not too late to start if you're thinking that, hey, well, I was going to start a podcast about, rollerblading, but there's already a rollerblading podcast. Yeah, but they don't have your perspective. So, and also they started in 2008. So in 3 short years, they're up to 13,000 listeners. So that's the other thing I would like to point out, to be realistic here. They didn't start in 2008 and have 13,000 listeners. I'm pretty sure that's not the way that went down. It does take some work, and that's why you've got to have a topic that you're passionate about. I've talked about that before. I'm passionate about podcasting. My wife, just her eyes roll in the back of the head if somebody asks me about a podcast, because she knows she's lost me for about a half hour, and I'm just going to keep talking and talking and talking and talking. Because at the beginning, you're not going to have a ton of subscribers, but if you just keep talking about what you love and the people and going to where your audience is and telling them about your podcast, you will generate your own little community. So I do want to, if you're a regular listener to the show, you notice today I'm taking some weird pauses. That's because I can't breathe. I like to breathe, but it's just not my strong suit right now. Actually, there wasn't a show last week, because last week I was basically dead. And I'm back this week with my sexy morning voice. Luke, I am your father. So want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to, this is my, I know I said don't make it a commercial. This is my commercial. It's about 15 seconds at the end of every episode. And that is, look, I've got step-by-step tutorials that'll walk you through the entire process of starting a podcast. I've got my email address. You've got me. I will call you on the phone in some cases to get you going in the right direction. You've got resources if you need music, if you need artwork, if you need themes, if you need anything to start your podcast. I've already found it all. It's all out there at the schoolofpodcasting.com. Come by and check us out. I would love to help you start a podcast. And until next week, thanks for listening. Class is dismissed.